Hutton, and I am 80 years old this year. I've been asked to tell you a little bit about my past life, the life before mobile phones, iPads, computers. I was born in London in 1937, and my mother was Australian and I had a Scottish father. My mother could see war coming with Adolf Hitler, and she decided that the family would be safer in Australia. Of course, she didn't know the Japanese were coming down to Singapore at that time. And we migrated to Australia in 1938, and war began in 1939, and my father joined the armed forces. Australia at that time, not every house had a bathroom and not every house had sewerage, but we had our fresh gardens, everyone had chooks, and I put my good health at this age down to my very healthy childhood. As a child with rationing, we had very little sugar, so sweets were not on the menu, so I've still got all my own teeth. So what did we do if we didn't have technology to play with? Well, there was rationing, so there were no cars on the road. Only the fire brigade, the doctors and the ambulance had petrol. All other materials went to the armed forces. So we could play in the street. And my favourite game was cricket. We played cricket in the street with a fruit box and a handmade bat made by one of the fathers, because you couldn't buy toys. All materials were for the armed forces. Any toys were pre-war, and there was often a lot of bargaining going on at Christmas time, so children would often get second-hand toys, but nobody thought anything of it because everyone had the same problem. Our mothers undid jumpers, unwound the wool from our father's jumpers to knit jumpers for us. I believe a little girl's underwear was made out of the shirt tails of their father's worn out shirts, but everyone was in the same boat. Now, this game of cricket could not have been more fiercely contested than the Ashes series, and we had special rules. To get a sixer, you had to hit the ball over the fence 2 house blocks down. The younger members of the group, they were allowed to be bowled out a couple of times, or if they flicked the ball over the nearby fence, they got 1 run and out. Now, one of the people in our street had dug up his front lawn to grow vegetables, as most people did, but he also let out his hens and this huge black rooster who to forage amongst the vegetables and do the weeding and eat all the insects, etc. Now, it was a vicious monster, and if the ball went into his yard, your life was on the line. So we kids worked out that the fastest runner had to jump over the fence to field the ball, toss it to someone on the other side of the fence, and then run like hell before the rooster got them. Now, this rooster could run, and he had a vicious peck, and he drew blood. So everyone christened him Hannibal the Cannibal because of his habit, and we all had scars on the backs of our legs from trying to outrun Hannibal when he was in the front yard. These were not unhappy times. We didn't have much, but neither did anybody else. War news was the topic of the day, and then Sydney was bombed by the Japanese submarines. Fortunately, the Japanese did not come because of the bravery of our soldiers on the Kokoda track, some of whom later in my life I got to know, and they were very brave and very young. Some were only 17, 18, 19 years of old. So if there are any young people watching this, just remember that maybe 50, 60 years ago, boys your age were slithering through the muds of the Kokoda track.